We should be live now.
Are you putting it as
Fantastic.
Minecraft or D&D?
I have it under D&D because it's not letting me. I wanted to try and do both, but it's not bringing up both. It's only letting me do one.
Crazy.
Oh, that would probably be up to your title.
Well, I have it. I have it titled as showcasing a D&D map in Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out on that. Let me put on. Let's put that on.
Them tasty grooves.
Mm-hmm. Good, where'd you go? Oh God, where'd he go? Geared, where'd you go? Oh no, his body's gone.
Right here.
Oh, okay. You weren't there for a second. Geared,
I
we
was.
lost you. You left us alone. We need an adult.
Apparently. But I ain't that adult.
You're older than I am, so you're more adult than I.
Hey. That's uncalled for. I'm trying to host your channel. Give me a moment.
I'm having a great time.
There it is. There, you are now hosted.
Yay! Wait, hang on.
You're such a gracious host.
Hang on 1 second.
And if I'm watching your stream, I can never get lost.
God damn it.
Creative mode woes.
Yeah.
Here, I got this. I got it.
Good job. Here, here. Here, here.
Yeah. God, I'm so used to Arc. I keep on hitting the I button to activate inventory instead of the E button.
Wow, the I button's really far away to access inventory.
Yeah.
Put the bow down.
Wow.
Put the bow down. You got so much to live for. Don't throw your life away on Geared.
Well, there's supposed to be a way that you can put
Wow, my
not arrows, rockets onto here.
Do you have to craft rocket arrows?
I don't think there are rocket arrows.
you just fire them out of it. They have to be like the next thing to it.
Next thing to you.
Let's try this. Nope. So it doesn't work like that either. Alright, well, either way. I'll shoot at people later.
Going off on a tangerine.
A little bit. Why am I getting...
You guys are getting crossbow bolts all over the studio.
Alright, well, I guess let's start this up then. Sorry for the, How did you make that firework go off?
Like that?
Okay. Sorry, Luke, we will figure this out.
What are we trying to figure out? I'm confused.
How to make a firework go off in this version of Minecraft from your crossbow.
Okay.
Alright, well, either way, sorry. So, everyone, welcome to our, what would be our night of D&D, but tonight we are missing a few people, so we're actually going to do a showcasing for our campaign, The Odd Company.
Gas popper.
Yes. And tonight, wait, why is this not showing up? For some reason, my actual chat on OBS decided that it didn't want to work. There we go. So again, tonight am joined by Luke, our DM for the Odd Company.
Hi. How are you guys?
Oh,
And the Geared Golem, who is at some point joining us, but is also part of our other campaign, the Avatar, or the World of Avatar.
Yes. He has stage fright.
Ah, okay. Well, let's stay back here so he doesn't have to be in front of a camera. We know how he gets.
I'm not sure how to feel about this.
So, we're gonna be showcasing Odd Company. This is a map that me and Luke have been working on for I don't know how many years now.
A couple at this point, yeah.
Yeah. All started out small-ish, and been kind of working the way up and up into the bigger stuff. Some of these that we're going to be showing are part of the campaign that weren't actually displayed on screen, because we didn't start doing that until what, like October of last year, maybe a little earlier than that.
That sounds about right, maybe. Yeah.
So we've been playing this campaign longer than that, so we'll be doing a little catch up for on screen. And I guess let's take it away. Luke, should we start off with the Theseus and then work our way up?
Yeah, I'll follow your lead on this one.
Okay, well, my lead.
However you like.
Okay.
I'm gonna go.
It hit me. It hit me.
Well,
It hit me.
let's start off with the Theseus.
Cool.
Alright. So this is the Theseus. This is our voyaging ship that we've been using. Thank you, Geared. Thank you.
It's very Disney. I like it. I like the fireworks, yeah. Yeah, this is the Ship of Theseus. This is the, I guess, main transportation and the first real boon of the Odd Company. This sort of home. Do you want to describe it, or did you have any like questions or anything that you wanted to ask her?
Well, I guess for the viewers or people who will be catching us at some point in time, do you want to explain how this came to be, like in game?
Yeah. So, the Ship of Theseus is very just like it's very like plot device heavy kind of item. So basically what it is a legendary item. It is the ship of the god / hero / demigod Theseus. You guys, I think, have rolled to kind of see if you know anything about Theseus, and I think only one of you vaguely knows anything about Greek mythology. I think it might have been Mac.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So the Ship of Theseus is, to those of you who don't know, it's a thought experiment inspired by the mythology. Supposedly, Theseus was a ship captain who liked to keep his ship in ship shape. And if any of the timbers, any of the railing or the planks was even remotely damaged, he'd chuck the whole timber out and have it replaced. And so the kind of thought experiment, which is unrelated to the plot really, is that, you know, at what point does an item become a new item, or does it remain the same item if you slowly replace every single one of its parts, right? Like, is the fossil of a dinosaur the same thing as a skeleton of a dinosaur after minerals have slowly replaced it? You know, who knows? It's, you know, kind of a philosophical quandary. So this item is magical in that anytime one of its timbers is slightly damaged, it will magically eject it from the ship into the open sea, and it'll magically sort of glorp and replace one of those timbers with whatever wood is on its vessel. And so aesthetically, that's kind of why you see all these planks are like different materials and stuff like that. Like in game, these would be like different oaks and yews and mahoganies and whatever they made ship timbers out of at the time, along with some of the more colorful ones are Feywild trees that the crew has picked up, more exotic timbers. Magical capability that I don't think the team has really tested the upper limits of.
Well, at this point in time, no.
Yeah. So you've kind of tanked every fight you've ever been in. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes in the future. But yeah, the other thing about this ship, just narratively, is that it is was given to them by a turtle god of antiquing. It is a ship in a bottle. So basically, the captain of the ship has the magical bottle of this, and normally it could sit on a shelf. The ship would sit in the bottle, and it would just sit there magically. And if you whispered this sort of magic password into the bottle, which no one except the person who knows it owns it knows, it sort of releases out into the greater, you know, ocean, and you sort of can use it as a regular ship. By the way, I totally did in fact come up with this idea before I watched that scene in the newer Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I don't think it was originally their idea either. I think the generic ship in a bottle becoming a big ship is probably, I think there's even old D&D items about it that are from old Arcana.
Probably.
Yeah, so.
Wolf, I figured it out.
Did you?
Put the firework in your offhand.
It's like the only thing you can offhand in this version of the game. Like, you can't offhand flowers.
Yay, okay.
Alright.
We figured it out.
Okay. Continue.
So for anyone that's wondering, this took us a few hours to actually make.
3 days, I believe.
Sounds about right. Because you were trying to go with a trireme for like the front half up into like this back section, and then like a crusader.
Well, yeah. So the concept of this is that it's based off of, it was originally a Greek trireme, which is basically a ship that has 3 decks of oars. This one obviously does not have its 3rd deck. At some point, the top deck was gutted out here, and it was retrofitted into a more modern sailing ship from like the Age of Exploration. Just to kind of as a testament that this thing has like survived like several ages and has, you know, been transformed in the process. You know, it'd be kind of like if you took your granddad's old Ford and then, you know, you dropped like a diesel engine in it at some point. I don't know. It's probably blasphemous to somebody. But so yeah, like these kind of ships were often like manned by like, you know, sort of slaves and militia. So like they wouldn't have things like a trireme. I don't think would have like a modern crew quarters like it has like this, or room for, you know, a captain's deck. Normally, I think what they did is they just put tents up on the top deck, and that was how they slept.
Okay.
And then everything else was utility.
Yeah. So as far as what's on here, we'll give you guys a little tour. So this back section is the captain's quarters, and our captain is Fusho.
Yep.
A kobold. Luke, you've got the details for that one. I don't know how much of it you want to enclose because we are players, but he's our captain, Fusho.
Yeah, he was a kobold that was basically one of the victims of the first attack from the bad guys. You know, the first sort of interaction that the party had with the main villain force. They encountered this little kobold boy in a cave in the Feywild, and his entire tribe was wiped out by the first wave of gnolls that the party had encountered, the skeletal gnoll force. I don't know how much more you want to get into that about the story, but the long and short of it is that they kind of adopted Fusho, brought him along with the crew, and then in a moment of genius, the party decided that, you know what, let's go ahead and make this child our captain. And so he owns the Ship of Dcs. He has the ship in a bottle. So yeah, so these are his captain's quarters. This is his bed with its lovely red curtains, as you would have in a you know, captain's exploration ship.
I mean, the best that we could do with Minecraft. I know there's different ways of doing curtains, but this is. Everything was just becoming too weird.
There was a map on this table at some point, and I think that someone stole the map out of the captain's quarters because they thought they'd be cheeky. It's like, why would you steal from a child? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Alright, and then moving on, we have not necessarily like it's crew quarters, but it's like the deckhands kind of quarters. We didn't go into too much with this one.
Yeah, so these would be like the crew's bunks. Like this, normally on this kind of ship, you'd have like a big old room with like a bunch of hammocks kind of strung up. Sometimes the hammocks would be hung like 3 tall, and then you'd have rows of them like that. Yeah, so you know, literally someone farting directly in your face as they slept. You know, essentially a sack. Yeah. But that's kind of where, like, you know, basically the entire crew that wasn't the captain would sleep, you know, and then, you know, you'd have, if you were lucky, maybe you'd have like a passenger's quarters or something like that if it was a passenger vessel. Yeah. But yeah, this would be where like, yeah, Russell and Hubert and Salim would be sleeping. Henatui does not actually sleep in these quarters. Anytime she can, she roosts up in the crow's nest, very fittingly.
Which makes sense for her character.
Yeah, like even if it's raining, you just see her up there.
Alright, so then coming up to, let's actually go up to the top deck really quick.
Yeah.
So this big open space is for a cabin, which we will be showing later on. Which, Luke, if I remember correctly, you wanted to make sure that the top deck was like a specific dimension, and then like the cabin you built to fit inside the dimension. So these are actually almost like Lego pieces where they both fit together.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is, in fact, another creation that we will get to probably directly after this one. That when we designed it, and at this point I can't actually remember which one we designed first. I think might have even started the Theseus, and then I said I need this to be bigger.
That sounds about right, because I think like on the last couple that like the last day that we were even building this, we were on this top part. And you're like, this needs to be this dimension by that dimension. Nothing can go.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think that was kind of how we had like some simultaneous stuff going on. I gotta say, guys, having one of my players work on stuff with me while also trying to keep other projects and other legs of the adventure from, Chavez's preview. Oh my god, it's been a chore and a half, and we're definitely we're going to be changing how we do business and handle story writing in the future, and I'm excited and hope that kind of changes how the campaign rolls out. So we'll have more of these kind of projects to show off as we're going and stuff. I'm really excited about it.
As the player and let's be honest, the builder of this map, I'm actually excited to see what you got planned for me to try and pick your mind to build.
Yeah, but not just you. Like I'd like to see what we can get accomplished when we have even like Geared and Brent and Michael all working on different parts of it together. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. So this I know is a big part of the ship, which as a player playing a Viking, this is probably one of my favorite features in game. You can't display it too well out of game because it's Minecraft. You're limited on what we have. But in game, I believe this was the Bone Ballista, I think is what you called it.
The Dragon Bone Ballista, yes. It's infused with very dark, not evil magics.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Tyrion's baby.
Yeah, this thing has been fun. First time we used it, I believe, was against your oh crap, what the hell did you describe them as? Like giant birds, almost like eagle kind of things, but they've been essentially merged with like the mind flare kind of effect, where like their tentacle things kind of coming off it instead of their legs.
Yeah, sort of like an illithid eagle.
Yeah. And I think this and then like a row of cannons took out one of them in like that turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I can't remember if I said there were cannons up here or not. Actually, I
No,
think there might be cannons.
We have two long.
Only cannons.
We have the two long cannons in the front, and then
That's
we have the ballista. And again,
right.
more unable to fully depict it, but these up here are our long cannons. So in game, Tyrion is the second mate or first mate, and the cannoneer or the gunner, if you go. So he kind of keeps these in as best shape as he can and pointed in as best of a strategic spot as possible. And
Yep.
these,
Did you explain why this guy is underneath the stairs?
Not yet. We haven't gotten downstairs yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're starting from the top down. So these.
And by the way, if you have any questions geared while we're explaining things, go ahead. We're happy to have you in on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, these two playing up front are for forward attacks, along with our very trusty and destructive ram, which.
Oh yeah.
That was an interesting encounter. In game, we were middle of the ocean, heading to. I think we were making our voyage to Mecca at the time. Like we were leaving Draconia, heading to Mecca.
Yeah.
And we pretty much just said fuck it all and rammed into a ship. And yeah, it caused some serious havoc. And we got a smaller boat out of it, and we will get to that in a second.
Well, and historically, that's exactly what these ancient Greek ships were designed for. Like, you have this super reinforced prow over here that is just meant to go right through ships, because you can see, like, they're kind of long on the side here, so you can imagine if that pointy end was to hit one of these long ends here, it just crack it right in half and go right through it, right? So it's a little bit different design than a more modern, like Columbus era ship, where it's maybe got the prow that'll poke a hole in something, but it's not designed to go through a ship like this.
Yeah, I think the whole concept was kind of the same as you would with like an axe head, where it all comes to a point and it's supposed to split like timber in half.
Yeah, very much so. That's a very apt description.
Oh god, I want to get back to destroying stuff with this ship, but that's in game. All right, let's go down to second floor front of the ship, where we have our beast of burden.
Yeah, and so one of the great things about the trireme kind of combination is that you just have mountains of long storage space. So, like, it's hard to kind of grasp the idea of the scale and things in Minecraft, but you absolutely in game have room for even more livestock than you have in game.
Yeah. So again, for Minecraft, you are limited to what we got. So we have Max hyenas, Bud and Lou, depicted by these dogs here. Still trying to work on getting them to actually follow commands correctly, but we're getting to it. Then we've got a Silica and Max horses, which in game and out of game, I don't think Tyrion or I actually really even know them. I think one of them was like Buttercup and the other one was something else.
I can never remember the name of Max horse, but yes, one of them is named Buttercup.
We don't have a name tag. We could actually do that, just name tag them so they're name tagged in it.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Brent what the name of his horse is. Like, I've forgotten.
Yeah. And then Ballista. Unfortunately, we can't do a large dog. So the skeleton horse is what we got. Ballista is a guard drake for D&D. For anyone that knows a guard drake, the story.
To be honest with you, I'd almost.
Huh?
I was just gonna say I'd almost describe him as a hunting drake at this point, but
more hunting. Well, guard drake is still pretty apt because of the way that I use him. He does more guarding. But I mean, hunting drake is also another good description for him.
You could use a polar bear. Or a mushroom.
I thought about it. I want something a little less bulky.
It's all theater of the mind anyway.
Yeah, very true. And then, so this dude, I don't think we actually even have anyone down there right now. Oh wait, no, no, she's on. Never mind. No, we don't have anyone here in game. I was gonna say Priscilla, but she's on the Schmartzbula.
Yeah, no one's in your holding cell right now.
Yeah. In Minecraft, I kind of threw him here to depict that this is a holding cell.
Yeah.
And then we got 8 cannons. We got 4 on each side.
Yep.
They aren't stationary like these. They are movable.
Is it canon that you have these?
Yeah.
I'll speed myself out.
So as far as the thesis going, I've actually been trying to keep up in Minecraft on the basic supplies of what we have here. So
yeah,
the 8 on the bottom, the 2 on top, and the Ballista are all cannon.
Yeah, and it's also
they're cannons.
Yes.
And it's also one of the things that really lends itself to the design of this ship. Like originally, again in ancient history, these were ore stations. This would be where you row from. And honestly, if you had enough people, you could probably still do that. Like just row the ship.
Yeah.
But it's really easily convertible space into just mountains of cannon decks. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
Stop blowing holes in my ship. Damn it, you moved.
They're play fireworks. They don't blow holes in anything. It's actually worried about them catching fire, but I don't think you have fire on.
We
No,
don't.
we
We
turned
don't
it
have fire spread.
Yeah, we turned it off because we've actually got a few parts of the map that fire is actually a aesthetic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, like fire on
you
wood here and there.
Would you like to explain this pile in the middle of the room while you're talking about your accuracy?
Sure. So these are supposed to depict all the different kinds of timber that we've collected. The warped fungus and the warped nylium, I think is what it's called, are supposed to depict the fey timber that we've gotten.
Mm.
And they've been knocked down a little bit to kind of show that it's been actually used, like in replacement of the wood of the ship. And then all the like the birch, the dark oak, and the regular oak are what's it actually called in D&D? Just the material world, the overworld, or something like the
material plane.
Okay, so
it's the material plane, and you guys would know it as Earth, or in Tyrion's case, you'd probably know it as Midgard.
I gotta try and remember that for Tyrion, because I keep on forgetting what some of those are actually called.
Mhm.
Yeah, so these are supposed to depict what we've gotten as far as the material plane has gone. Yeah, they've been kind of used. Some of them are longer just because they're the more recent ones, the ones that haven't been used yet.
No.
And then, alright, this is still flooded out. So then behind here, we've got a hatch leading to the under part of the ship where like cargo and stuff like that, mainly like barrels and stuff, are held. We got
flooded out.
I think it got flooded out when we were filling in the water around it.
What's the skull for?
So I believe this one was actually a skull from the orca that we killed. In one of our earlier sessions, Tyrion had killed an orca, and I think it was like almost 20 dolphins to basically defeat the ship. And then one of my survival checks allowed me to like almost perfectly harvest the skull of an orca. And after that happened, Mac came in with the orca's head right above him, and he ran in, trying to make it seem like he was a walking dead body of the soul of the orca. It was actually kind of funny.
Is this for something kinky?
No, it's just supposed to represent the extra rope that a ship's got.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a ship. Where else would you find rope?
Right.
I was asking if it was for something kinky.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, come on now.
See yourself off my ship. Thank you. And then we got just barrels of.
Hey, where's the
cargo
plank?
stuff. I'll show you a plank.
Yeah, you will.
That's what I'm asking for. Where is the plank?
I don't have a zipper sound on my soundboard.
That's not what I was looking for.
All right, so moving on. So we've got a Silica Room, who is our Mind Flayer chef. This is his room, and we put his room actually right across from the kitchen because he is our chef. He needs to be able to actually maintain his area. This is supposed to represent his cookbook, his stove, his supplies.
Yeah, he is the snackromancer, so it makes sense that he would have like he could totally just have this thing floating here as he's cooking away at the fire.
Mm-hmm. The way I imagine it is Scarlet Witch, or like even the witches from Hocus Pocus, where their book is just kind of sitting there levitating, and it's like right it's like in front of him and off to the side a little bit, but it's like in the middle of the air, and you can just look over, see it, go back to what he's doing, glance over at it.
Yeah, no, he has a canon ability called Snacrokinesis, so he actually has the ability to telekinetically. Oh, I destroyed it. I am so sorry. Controller, sorry guys. He has the ability to like magically move food with his mind. So yeah, you totally see him with like, you know, some peppers and onions and stuff floating around while he's reading his book and, you know, doing his thing.
Yep.
I'm now picturing like a scene from Cinderella or Fantasia with food.
Very much so.
Yeah. And then we got Tyrion's room back here, none too special. We got Mac's room. I don't think he's done anything with it. And then we got two. Oh, this is Fuzz's room.
Yeah.
This one I think is supposed. We ended up turning into Dirk's room, and then back here was originally Glill's room, but he's moved into his lab.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's on the Tremoctabula now, so I mean that makes sense for him to be there. So you know, who knows? Maybe someone else will end up getting that room.
Maybe. I mean, we do still have like Kark and Liv, and well, I mean, yeah, we'll figure out who's there. I got an idea on who's gonna be there, but you know, we'll figure it out. I think at one point we actually turned one of these into a barrel of mead. I want to say it might have been this one over here. Oh, Geared, so you weren't. I don't think you were there. You might have heard it on stream, but there was one session when we were in Kattegat where Tyrion and Silica just made mead on the ship, and everyone got really drunk that night. And then the following morning, we found Mac was attached to the ceiling. I think Silica and Tyrion were like hugging, but like hugging splayed across the logs. I think that's how it went down, or something along those lines.
And you questioned why I questioned this rope.
Fair.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, so I think that actually kind of does it for the Theseus. I think we've covered everything. Luke, was there anything?
Can we just get? Can we just get a look at these sails? Can we just take a second to appreciate Chavez's magnificent sails in the crow's nest?
All right.
I think the rigging was a pretty clever idea.
Thank you.
Like these sails aren't made of cloth. This won't float.
I like the streamer might be my favorite part. Like honestly, like I love seeing the little streamer of a ship flapping in the wind. So this is super happy for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice. I was making bad jokes. This is loud.
Yeah. All right.
Should we go to the cabin next?
Sure. Actually, let's stop off here real quick. Just get a little description.
Yeah, since we're talking origins.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, actually, Luke, you'll know more than I will about what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, so I don't think we ever did this on stream. This is back when the campaign was in the kind of I guess it's session 0 phase. I think we've mentioned it on stream where Silica's come from. He's definitely talked about it, but basically he's been outcast from his Illithid hive, and so this is kind of like, I guess if you will, a concept art to what the Illithid pods sort of look like. So basically he was sort of jettisoned out of like his sort of like mind flayer space castle from his noble family, House of Rop, and he was jettisoned out a sort of like a space capsule. So this is supposed to be like a
it's an escape Lego.
Well, so
Yeah, so
I'll take over just a little bit. So
yeah.
when we were building it out, the one on the left is supposed to be what it looks like when it's like fully intact. So someone could stand in there, and this is the bubbles and everything are what it would look like, and then this one over here is what it looks like after he landed and it broke open. So there's nothing in it. There's no one inside. The water's all gone and stuff like that.
Yeah, if I had to describe it, I'd say it's very much like how if a xenomorph or a predator had made a Star Wars Bacta tank. And I guess that's actually kind of relevant because this is very similar in design, how I described it to the tank that I've had, I guess, 2 of the crew member heal up in, because we had a Silica...
And Tyrion in the last session.
Yeah, and we also had Glil in that pod as well to heal up. So I mean, yeah, this would be the pod that that Tyrion was in when he was healing.
Okay.
Is it just laying around somewhere in the world now, or did they keep it somewhere?
No, so this was just kind of thrown together sporadically. We could actually move it at some point.
Oh no, I meant in game. Is it somewhere they know of it is, or just like laying around on the ground?
It's in the Tremoctobula.
Well,
okay.
So the one that you guys healed up in was in the Tremoctobula, and that's specifically like a healing tank. It just looks very similar to the escape pod. The one that Silica was riding around in for like the better part of 2 centuries is still in the Feywild. I don't know how much we've said about that on stream, and I don't know if this is the right place to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I guess, yes, it would be in the Feywild where Silica and Mac had originally escaped from.
Yeah, because all that happened even before I was even part of the campaign, so above game, I don't really even know a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
I know some things, but it was just enough to kind of get us started with building the stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you've been a fantastic addition.
Alright, let's move on. Let's actually go the correct way in, which I believe is...
Thank you.
I believe is this
So,
cave?
yeah, so initially when we had this, there was a whole puzzle cave, sort of classic D&D system that the players, when they finally came through, they were tasked with getting through the end of this cave, which they did with flying colors.
Almost.
And,
Mac technically died.
There was a spaghetti monster.
Yes.
And after all of those trial and tribulations, they came across a waterfall. And on the other side of this waterfall, exactly like this, was this cabin in a cave. And this turned out to be the home of Mac's father, creator person, Deus Mortalis, the self-proclaimed god of the fate of mortals.
Self-proclaimed?
Yes.
So for the sake of it, this is the cabin that we were talking about earlier, the one that is meant to be on the back of the Theseus, but because we wanted to add more detail, Luke had actually started building this one up about the time that I was finishing up the Theseus, and he actually kept this one secret from me for actually a good amount of time. He just kept on telling me
not even. Not even. I totally whipped this up like in the last second. And I definitely needed you to help me put the finishing touches on it. But yeah, the cool thing about this is that this is I don't know if you want to continue describing it or not. It's your show.
No, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, so this place was home to Mac's family,
Let's go inside.
a family of over 100. I think Mac has the exact number, but over 100 mimics of various proportions. You have teacup mimics and couch mimics and cupboard mimics and all kinds of things. So virtually this is another one of those concept art kind of areas where we just wanted to see how many kind of pieces of mimic furniture we could come up with, on the fly. And I had a lot of fun with this project here, actually.
Is the whole house a mimic?
The house itself is not a mimic, but everything inside of it is essentially a mimic. Honestly, my favorite one is the eyeball painting. It's so simple. Like, you just imagine like a painting of an eyeball, and you're like, oh wow, that's brushstrokes on that are really nice, and it just blinks. Like the whole painting blinks.
It's always watching.
Always watching.
It looks at me from every angle. Of course, it's an eyeball.
Yeah. Like you said, these are all supposed to be, the concept art. So I mean, take it as you will. We tried to take like the faces of like some of these just to kind of show that they're faces on the thing. I forget this. I think this is supposed to be a dispenser. I think the idea behind it was that there's like two little slit kind of things, and then like the raised eyebrows, and like the big open black gray part is supposed to be the mouth.
Ooh, have you seen an observer?
I think we've got one.
I think we have one upstairs. Yeah,
it might be upstairs.
Yeah,
observers have the best face.
They do. They look concerned.
Yep, we have an observer up on the second floor, along with an iron golem.
Wolf, did you see me?
No.
Go back upstairs.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not on the third floor yet.
I know, I went through the chimney and just sat here on fire for like the last 5 minutes.
So then the second floor is supposed to be Deus's bedroom. We don't have a whole lot of detail in here.
Well, neither does he. It's a very sparse living situation. This is basically just where he kept his bed, and a few of the mimics kind of hang out up here. Like the Iron Golem, which may or may not be canon.
No, it's a golem mimic.
So then and again, normally this door would be, so when you get to the third floor here, you get to this balcony, and this is also canon. This is here on the house. So this is lovely and nice. But then the other door here would be the door to the Tremoctobula, which I'm sure we'll get to in a second. But normally this door would not be a double door. It's just, Minecraft got to do what a Minecraft do. So it would be one of these doors, but single. Yeah. And I always have imagined like the door to the Tremoctobula being a little lighter like that. It's got like, nice carved paneling and stuff.
Well, I would imagine it would be lighter just because of how many dings and scrapes it ends up getting while we're moving around.
Yeah. It's very decorative.
But alright, let's go to the next part. Which
I don't know.
We're still working on this, and I think so far this has actually taken longer than almost any other part of the map, except for maybe like Kattegat.
But to its own credit, this
hang on one second.
Area.
There we go.
Definitely. Oh god, I'm out. I'm getting. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I had to wait for it
to its credit, part of this map definitely did build itself, like without much of our encouragement. So I mean, I love every time I walk in here. I just remember of that time that we walked in here on session. I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I think that actually might be on stream even.
Possibly, because I know that like towards the beginning of us streaming our campaign, we weren't using Roll20, at least not on camera, and then we were just kind of walking around in game.
Yeah, for sure.
So before we get to the main ship, I guess let's describe these patches to the left and right. Start with the right.
Yeah, so I guess when you walk into the Tremoctobula, the first thing that you notice is that it's a big old magical bubble, right? And inside this bubble is sort of this overgrown, jungly sort of Zen garden kind of thing. I'd say it's like a cross between Zen garden and alien Jumanji overgrowth forest.
When did the Nether get such epic music?
Well, I know they added a new one with 1.19. They had one come out with, I think, 1.16 or 17. But I don't have those going off here. Alright, let's start with the right side.
Right side. Okay. Yeah. So
So before we get into detail, again, Minecraft logic, you're not allowed to place water, so this is gonna look kind of weird, but it's supposed to be water and then layered glass to give depth. So I think this is actually supposed to be like, I forget how deep you said it was, like 20 to 50 feet deep, somewhere in that range. In like some sections, and only like 10 feet deep in a few.
yeah, so it's a proper like Zen garden pond. So like there's parts of it that you could totally like just kind of sit and relax in, maybe take a brief swim, and then there's a deep end somewhere that's just like, oh my god, this is shark in here. You know, kind of like,
There's a shark in here?
not literally, but like it's that deep. You're like, oh man, there's something in there, you know?
Yeah, it gives you that feeling that like at any given point in time, someone can just reach up and grab you.
Exactly.
You just wouldn't even
Which
see
is
it
fitting.
coming.
Which is fitting since this is technically a nautiloid vessel, a mind flayer vessel. And so, yeah, and so
I'm gonna butcher this. So someone with was it thalassophobia?
Thalassophobia.
Thalassophobia would not want to come in here.
Probably not.
Yeah, not a good call. Not a good time. But so like the whole concept around this is that this is like the more decorative part. This is like really kind of shows off the aesthetic value of the Tremoctabula. And so like one of the things you'll notice about this place both in and at a game is that like the plants and stuff in here come from various planes of existence. This whole place was curated by somebody to kind of showcase and cultivate like, you know, all kinds of rare plants and things. Because the origins and the age of the Tremoctabula are kind of a mystery to the crew. I don't think anyone's really delved into it too much.
I think a Silica might be the only one that's done anything to it. I think it was when he was talking to his uncle.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And so like, yes, there are like, you know, plants from like the planes of hell. There are plants from like the elemental planes and the, you know, the astral planes and stuff like that. They're plants, you know, and mushrooms and things that are probably from, I don't know, other universes or something, like just completely alien things all throughout this place. And this is very accurate to what it would look like, you know.
Other plane of existences?
Yeah. But over here is an actual Zen garden, so this would be the, you know, the little sand pit, and this is canonical as well. Someone put this here.
But who? I guess we'll never know.
I have to put this one out here. So over here in the other end from it, so there's a movie called Summer Wars. It came out. I think it was like I forget how it was, but there was a thing with like Digimon. This one where like they were almost competing.
Yeah.
Summer Wars one that me and Luke really took to and really liked quite a bit, and in it they have this game called Hanafuda.
It's actually called Koi Koi. Hanafuda is like their way of saying playing cards.
Oh, okay. So they use Hanafuda cards, but so Koi Koi. So we just threw in a little table for that kind of thing, kind of like what you see out in the park where there's chess tables out and about. We thought this would have been a little fun little Easter egg.
Yeah. And like I could totally see it. Like, yeah, like you have someone play chess or checkers here. You have someone play Go if that was a little more appropriate to the setting. Hanafuda, obviously, you know, yeah. I like the touch, and it definitely makes this place feel more like lived in, which is something it desperately needs.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we might need to when we're done, we might need to think about throwing in like a flump or something like here and there. Give a little
Maybe.
motion.
Yeah.
All right.
They've never been let out.
Fair.
What's never been let out?
The flumps.
Oh.
So before,
I think these trees over here have grown in a little more.
the trees might have, but I don't think I don't think these red and blue ones do.
It's actually looking a little more dense. I like it.
All right. So before we actually go into the Tromactobula, do you want to explain what this is on the ceiling?
Yeah, so I guess a little more explanation in general might be a good idea. And for that, we're going to go ahead and go with Geared. What do you know about the Tromactobula?
I forgot.
I'm totally kidding. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus like that.
Well, you told me some stuff a while back, and then I forgot what it was. My character doesn't know, so I don't know.
Whose fault is that for forgetting?
I blame you.
So to keep it in perspective, all right. So if you were to think about it, all right, and maybe if I could get the camera here, this might help explain it. All right. So where'd you go, Chavy?
Right above you, in the trees.
Oh God, I didn't see you at all. Okay.
Zed's in the chat.
Hey, what's going on, Brent? So let's imagine this door, right? Oh God, right here, is the door that we just came through in the Tromactobula. All right. Now on this side of the door is just a door, and it's the entire material plane. It's the world that you and I live in and everything.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of this door, if I were to just look at the other side of the door physically, is a tiny little bubble, a microscopic bubble that's so small like you couldn't even see it under a microscope. It is the smallest possible measurement that a thing could take up. And it's right about here where I'm pointing, if this is still the door. So it's just floating there connected to the door itself. But if you were to walk through this door while it's open, you would walk into a magical portal that would take you into all of this. And that is the Tromactobula. It is the sort of tiny micro-dimensional space with a nautiloid inside of it, a mind flayer vessel that can travel the stars. Inside this space is the main nautiloid, so the vessel, the technological fortress, which is this kind of thing here. It looks like a giant snail shell or a sea snail shell, and an octopus on top of it. Specifically, it's supposed to look like a blanket octopus. If you don't know what a blanket octopus is, look it up. They're beautiful and amazing, and incredibly rare from what I hear. But so its tentacles are just flayed out. It has like these membranes between its tentacles, and that's supposed to look like a bubble. And that's kind of the whole idea about this ship. It's a nautiloid that doesn't just look like a squid in a shell. It looks like a blanket octopus in a shell making a bubble.
Okay.
I know that's weird and convoluted, and you need to know marine biology, but that's basically was the whole design premise behind this. And that was where I got my idea. And then, of course, the nautiloid itself is anchored to this little island of land, and that's sort of where all the plants in the garden comes from. Because in D&D, a nautiloid would sort of put out its tentacles and anchor itself and steal resources from the land. This one's technically doing the same thing. It just had its own garden. It doesn't need other resources.
It is its own resource.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of what makes it different from like traditional mind flayer technology. Mind flayers are usually like there to kind of take and, you know, steal things from the land and steal people's brains and turn them into other mind flayers. The Tromactobula is completely self-contained and in fact is strong enough to do all kinds of crazy wackiness. But I could go on about this for days. I'm nerding out a little bit. Sorry.
That's what we're here for. This is showcasing this for.
Yeah,
But, so let's break you of this tangent and let's move inside.
for sure.
So here, I'll let you guys go in first, and then I'll.
Yeah, so inside this technological marvel,
Weird.
this illithid future tech,
Eh.
the door slides
Here,
open.
get out of my chat and. Oh, and that is resubscribe for 12 months. Jesus, about that time.
Oh, thanks, Brent.
All right. So inside of the ship.
Yeah. You know about this a little bit. Do you wanna try and take a stab at it, Chavez?
Sure. So coming inside, I don't remember what this one's name is, but this one over here is oh crap, I'm brain farting. It's a Silica.
I'll give you a hint. It doesn't have an S at the end of his name.
It's I know it's a Silica's uncle. It's
Ampho.
Ampho. Thank you. Ampho Rop, right?
Yep, that is correct.
He is a illithid brain. I don't remember the story behind it, but he's basically, his brain's been like removed and he's been put into this, and he is like the AI interface kind of thing that controls and is the ship.
Yeah. So if you want, without going into too much details here, basically when there's certain mind flayers that are basically born to be leaders, and at some point they stop being normal looking mind flayers and their brains grow out of proportion and they eventually become elder brains. And elder brains are like the queen bees of mind flayers. They basically get to have more little mind flayer tadpoles and keep the hive going. And then mind flayer technology, shockingly, is all run off psychic stuff, psionics, because mind flayers are psychic.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really use magic, and they don't really use technology unless it's psychic-based technology. So it's kind of a no-brainer saying that you can make an elder brain into a supercomputer. But yeah, it's kind of a weird situation because as far as the party knows, when he was first found, he was very computer-like, he was very mechanical, and plot things happened. And he's much more personable now. Yeah.
I'll have to remember that. And this one over here, I cannot remember the name of him for the dear life of me.
So he is a sort of this is Sithuga, and Sithuga is a H.P. Lovecraft mythos fire vampire. He's essentially a micro god, and he's not quite like an elder god like a Cthulhu, but kind of in like the same kind of vein. And he's literally just a ghost made of blue fire. And the party hasn't really talked to him too much, but he seems to be a friend of Ampho's, and he also seems to have something to do with the power management of the ship. I think those are the only two things that I've really revealed to you guys about him.
I think so. We haven't really interacted with them too much, like in game. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because he was there when you guys were first introduced to the Tremoctobula, and then he's only ever shown up again if like you guys have taken damage. So.
Okay. Alright, then moving on. This will be our actual like interface that we do stuff off of.
Yep.
I think the map, these not maps, but these I think these were supposed to depict the actual like maps that we can see.
Yep. So this isn't really hard. This isn't really that hard to imagine. I don't think, if you can picture sort of like a table that's projecting minor illusion, or major illusion even. I know they probably have the technology for that. And just creating a sort of Tony Stark helicarrier shield, virtual 3D display that you could probably totally interact with. It's
I know
it's all magic based, but super futuristic.
I know we've interacted with it at least once when we were heading to Mecca.
That is correct.
And then these back here are character interfaces, like where we sit when we're actually controlling the ship.
Yep. So in D&D you have, and I think we're releasing this soon, correct me if I'm wrong there, Geared, but when is Spelljammer set to come out again?
August 13th, I think.
So
we'll see.
Next month.
Yeah. So we'll see what they kind of canonize for 5th edition and what they change. But traditionally, in D&D, if you want to sail the stars, you literally sail the stars in some kind of ship, and you move it with a magical seat called a Spelljammer helm. And the Spelljammer helm, they all work differently. The different spacefaring races seem to have different versions of it. But the basic gist of it is that it's a magic chair that is bolted to the ship, and you use your brain and your willpower and whatnot to make the ship go, and you're completely interfaced with it. That takes a lot of magical energy. It takes a lot of control. Mind flayers do not do magic. They do psionics. So their solution to the problem: get a bunch of seats together and make a connected a Spelljammer helm. And a connected helm allows multiple people to sit in it and put their mind powers together and move the ship as a unit. That is what the Tremontabula uses.
Yep. And we've got a few people that are actually controlling and piloting ours right now.
Yeah.
But we will get to that in game, because that's actually something that we do. And we're probably gonna have to do that with this next session, just to get the fuck out of where we're at.
Yeah, but just to kind of like keep on the topic of visuals and aesthetics, what I've always imagined is that when you guys actually sit in these Spelljammer helms, so like they're the two positions that basically just knock you out, and you do the different control functions of the ship, which that's all a part of.
Close, because you're moving the carts around.
Oh, sorry. Good catch. They're not moving on my screen.
This one kept on moving back and forth a little bit.
Sorry.
Right, you're good. I just don't want to have to sit here and try and move things around.
Yeah. But so I always imagine that when you sit in one of these helms and you sit down in them, you sort of go under a la Matrix, or I don't know, Code Lyoko, if you know Code Lyoko and you're a nerd like me. And it will, at first, like, if you take the batteries or the auxiliary processors, that'll just sort of put you in sort of a zened out utility space in the Matrix. But if you are going to be a pilot and you're going to sit in the helm and do a control function, I always imagine that takes you to basically a cyberspace version of this room that literally just looks like this command deck floating in cyberspace. So like instead of walls, there's like floating runes going by and stuff like that, very Tron. But then like there's this table is still here, and this is where you guys operate everything out of. And instead of seeing an elder brain here, you see Ampho as he was when he was a mind flayer. He's just like this, 8-foot tall mind flayer in cyberspace.
See, I never really thought of Ampho being 8 feet tall.
Yeah, so the mind flayers that end up and they don't talk about this, because they talk about the ones that become mind flayers, the ones that become elder brains in Volo's guide, I believe.
It could be.
Oh,
sorry.
But they don't.
Night Zenith.
Night Zenith. So they talk about the ones, the Ultharids, I believe, that are just normal mind flayers. And then they talk about the Elder Brains, which are literally like, you know, brains the size of like Volkswagen Beetles. And they say that the Ultharids turn into the Elder Brains. They don't describe that process at all, but you kind of imagine at some point their head has to get bigger and they have to lose the rest of their body somehow. So I never really understood that process, and they just don't talk about it.
It's very face of bow kind of situation from what it sounds like.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, maybe like almost like a Dead Cell, not Dead Cells, Dead Space kind of thing. So, but yeah, so I always imagined that, like, you know, somewhere in the intermediate steps of that process, the mind flayers get bigger and bigger, and their heads get bigger and bigger, and then stuff starts falling off.
Yeah. That sounds painful and kind of horrifying to think about for D&D and Minecraft. I mean, D&D's got its own things about it.
Yep. The life of a Ultharid who becomes an Elder Brain. You just sit down in the tub one day and you don't get out.
Alright, let's go downstairs. I'll let you guys go down first.
I'm pointing the way.
Yeah, so the Tromoctobula is this prop is very theater of the mind, but you can imagine that in-game, there's a lot of floors and a lot of rooms that just go on and on. This place is very labyrinthine. But a good third of the bubble itself is dedicated to this. The farm space that supplies and or powers the Tromoctobula.
The legwork for this one alone took a long time.
Why don't you tell me what you know about this place? Because I don't know. You guys didn't investigate it very much, and I don't want to give too much away here.
So, first off, for Minecraft, these floating things with like the lights on, the torches and stuff like that, these are supposed to represent flumps along with the bees. The bees are here for actual movement for this area. So from what I know is that the flumps are like the caretakers of the area. They preen, they collect, and they do everything for this, including taking care of like the crops, the grounds, like tilling, stuff like that, and everything that they harvest comes over to. I don't really know what to call it, like, except for like an intake area or like a storage silo kind of thing.
This is the collection vessel.
That works. Collection vessel. So like all the food and stuff like that's sent out across the ship, because in game I don't think they know, but I think out game or above game you had said that there's even other things in the ship that need to be maintained.
I think it's been mentioned offhandedly and no one's investigated it, so yeah.
Who knows? So I guess this is kind of where everything is stored that gets sent all across the ship for like food and resource stuff. This giant brick box is this is actually right underneath the Zen garden, so this is actually where all that the depth comes and is hidden behind. But this is supposed to be like a giant water tank, basically. And
yeah,
that is actually the water from there is actually sent across these pipelines, and that's kind of all I really know about this area. I know that there's a spot back here for like timber and like making bigger resources than the smaller ones that they can actually be used properly.
Yeah, aesthetically there's a lot of little touches in here that I loved, like for instance the tentacles. We added these carved blocks here to make it look like
Suction cups.
actual suction cups. Yeah, that's honestly my favorite part of the downstairs part of this place. And I think I might actually someday go back up and like actually finish doing that all the way around.
Yeah. There are a few more touches that we need to do. Like, if you didn't see it on the top floor outside, there were like different color panes of glass. They're supposed to represent like oil streaks that were supposed to go.
Yeah.
They're supposed to go like all around, but we didn't get down to the second floor to do it. This second floor was kind of thrown in like the weekend right before the session that we even came down here.
Yeah, so I mean, we had the area kind of cordoned off and everything like that, and just for reference, before I even told Chavez about this project and asked him for his help, I came over here in the Nether and spent 3 days by myself clearing out this area with very rudimentary means. Like I was using TNT and stuff, and I then had to come in and like plow over pillars of magma. Like if we were to punch through this wall over here to the outside, it looks so gross. And that was all because I knew what I was going to do. I knew I was going to make this sphere out of glass and make it different colors and put lava over it, and it was going to look legit. And I don't hate it. I just it needs more love.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so that's what I know of this area, and that's what me as a player and me as Tyrion know of what's going on down here.
Yeah. And so, like, for anyone who doesn't know, the flumps are kind of like these sort of floating, sort of sky jellyfish. They move around and they just have these, like, kind of snail stalk eyes and tentacles. And so it's kind of, this was a really fun project to kind of experiment with to see how can we visualize the idea of these guys at work, moving around crops. Again, we had a lot of concept art, so inevitably I really like the jelly looking ones where it's like, the honey and the slime block. Those are fantastic for the little jellyfish look. Canonically, these things can kind of change their colors, so they kind of are, sort of a milky, clear jellyfish color, and then they can glow blue or red or yellow or whatever, like a disco ball inside of them. So, like, yeah, having them different colors and textures and things it's really fun to play around with. And I really like the ones that are stationary, just because, like, that looks like a flump doing his job, But the bees definitely add the life and the movement and the busyness to this area.
It makes it the bee's knees.
Yeah. And so, like, it's interesting to see kind of how it plays out dynamically, and we just have fields of flowers to kind of keep everyone occupied and things. So, yeah, I love this. I love how it turned out.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of off the cuff thought went into this, and it all ended up coming together really well.
Yeah, the little like aquifer system or the aqueduct system that you have made out of barrels, that's a nice touch. I love it.
And the only way I could get water into here, cauldrons with water inside of them.
Yeah, cauldrons with water inside of them, and then besides that, it's just ice.
Because water and the Nether don't like each other.
Yeah, I would definitely do things differently if I had a chance. I might even I would have even considered putting this in the end, but I knew how to work with the Nether. I didn't know how the end worked at all, so.
You would have had to go slay the dragon.
Yeah, and then I don't even know does the end still have the same water problem?
No, but you could actually put water down in the Nether or in the end.
Okay, so that would have been the way to do it.
The problem though that I think we would run into is actually the height limit for it. Because we're not playing on Java, we are playing in the Windows 10. The ceiling in the end. Oh wait, no, it's not in the end. It's the Nether. Never mind. I don't know how high the ceiling is in the end. I just know that in the Nether, there's the Nether roof, and with this version, you can't actually place anything above it, but you can in Java.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, next area, let's do the hotel.
Yeah.
I always like this one. This one's a fun one.
The one thing I do hate about that, and it's just a Minecraftism, I don't know how to fix it, and I don't want to bother to learn, but the exit portal from the Tremoctabula puts us out over here by the Hotel California, so
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
We don't need it to work.
Yeah, I mean, it works for what we need it to do.
Yeah.
Alright, so the hotel. You want to give them a quick description or just story behind this one?
Yep. So while they were at the Turtle God of Antiquing, getting the ship, because the crew needed a ship, they also decided to trade for some other goods, and one of the things they got was unbeknownst to them, a key to a cursed resting location. So another kind of subdimensional space here. The key to the Hotel California is a magic key that if you put it in a door, any door, it'll stop going where it normally goes and it'll open up and it will take you to a dark desert highway with cool wind in your hair. And at the end of that road, you will see a sort of Via-style, mission-style hotel with a glittering mission bell on it called the Hotel California. And the Hotel California is sort of modeled exactly how it's described. It's basically the Hotel California, which is a real historical place. There is a place called the Hotel California, but there's also on the cover of the Eagles album, the Hotel California, where that song is from. It's a very different looking building. And so we kind of kit smashed the two of them together, made it a beautiful 60s, 70s disco pink color. And I guess 80s, more like, I don't know. I'm not from the Coke era, guys. But yeah, that's kind of what we this is entirely inspired by sort of that whole Eagles era California feel, at least in my mind.
We did what we could.
So yeah,
at least.
So you come in here into the main courtyard, and over here on the left is where the Nightman would be, the guy who you would check in, check out, but supposedly you can never leave. Because as soon as you come through this gate, it closes behind you. Here in the another thing about this place, it's completely once you get here, it's completely run by skeletons. So skeletons operate this place. Lovely fountain. Lovely fountain here in the middle of a not California desert.
So we got the kitchen in the back right corner, which Geared is in. We have the stage directly at the end of the pathway. There's a garage, which is supposed to have a El Camino? Is that right?
Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, so Mercedes-Benz. We've got the actual hotel over here to the side, which we'll get to.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the kitchen where the party. I don't remember what you guys ordered, but yeah, they have like any food that you could want.
A Silica got a purple worm steak. Fusho, Tyrion, and Balasar shared a rack of dire bear ribs. Mac and oh crap, what was Caleb's character?
Oh, Kirok.
Kirok didn't actually join us for this. They actually went and broke into the hotel. Literally,
Right.
because Kirok decided to push down the front door.
That's right. His character is still there.
Yep. With a bucket of water. Because I think that was like the last thing that Mac had requested before we left.
Hmm.
Oh, I forget if it was a bucket of water or to fill the room with water. One of the two. Yeah, so then the stage over here, just your regular stage for like mariachi bands or plays or anything like that. And then over here we've got our hotel. It is 2-story. Each room, much like the song, are all labeled 666. Inside are the red carpet floor, and then this roof is, or not roof, but the ceiling is supposed to be a mirror. I think that's correct. Yeah, mirrors
Mirrors on the ceiling.
Yep. So that one, just kind of take that one with a grain of salt because you can't make mirrors in Minecraft. At least not ones that we can do with as small of scale as we went with this. And yes, look, they do say small scale. And then up top we have not really like a bell tower, but it is a bell tower because there's a bell inside of it and it's kind of a tower.
Yep. This would be the mission bell.
Oh. I think inside there's actually a bell. There is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that is the hotel.
Yep. Yeah, this place is fun. The party's probably never going back. Two of you narrowly dodged a coke addiction. One of you is still stuck there, stuck in a sort of kleptomaniacal purgatory. I'm sure his deity is very happy about that.
Probably. Didn't he? I think he only requested for there to be something in there for him to steal, but he wasn't like specific on what it was.
Yeah, they just keep adding stuff for him to steal.
Is this the menu right here? You said this was the kitchen, right?
Yes, the kitchen.
Is this the menu?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
hey,
either like different like meats they have on display. Yeah.
It's what they have on display.
Humans, orcs, and kobolds?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I think it's supposed to be like a Minecraft-ism for like a McDonald's menu.
Yeah.
Because like when you look at it from back here, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we've done that. We don't have one for Draconia because that's going to be a whole map on its own. So from Draconia, actually, if you want to come out and to the left, we have a mock-up of what one of the doors would be from Draconia. I think actually the door between Dimudus's chamber to the Ship of Theseus, or not Ship of Theseus, the Shamaxabula, because we actually did find this and walked through it, and everyone laughed.
And then everyone fought.
Yeah. And this was supposed to be like the if I remember correctly, the way you had described that door was it was old. Well, it wasn't old. It was all
beat up, tattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically made of like the copper, like the oxidized copper look.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a bigger version of it. I mean, technically,
yeah, it's like a big old bronze door that like basically, so inside the Tromoctabula on its end, it actually has a hallway full of doors,
which I want
like all different doors of different sizes and stuff like that. And yeah, presumably because they've only been through one of them so far, they all go to different places like that. I think you are also specifically told to not go through any of the other doors. I can't remember.
That sounds correct. I don't remember. It's been a while since we've done anything with them.
Yeah.
But in Minecraft, this is upscale because I was trying to put detail into it to kind of show more of what we'd be seeing. Because, I mean, in Minecraft, a door is only 2 blocks tall.
Yeah.
This is only
It's hard
supposed
to
to be
build
the size of like these 4 squares right here.
You just wanted to get the detail in and...
Yeah, so I upscaled it.
Yeah. It's nice having a map where we can do like concept art kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's do Mecha next.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're
Alright.
we're in the area, and at least timeline of the story, we've actually been doing these in order. For the most part, I think we've actually swapped these 2.
Yeah. Well, we still haven't gone to like another place, but I guess yeah, you were.
At least for what we've got so far. What are we missing? So we haven't gone to Tyrion or to Kattegat, but those were later on in the story.
Exactly. Yeah. So over here is the temple of our Minoic friend Dirk Dangus, who belongs to a very religious and spiritual people who sort of live in this sort of cathedral here out in the middle of Mecca. So I don't know how much we want to talk about this, but basically in my game, all of the Earth pantheons of yore kind of coexist together, and the monotheistic Abrahamic religions are sort of band together in sort of tentative camaraderie and kinship.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be the kind of place where they'd all come together as a sort of sanctuary. So that is the symbol of the Minoics, sort of compound symbol of the 3 religions. And this is what one of their temples would look like.
Mm-hmm. Let's not dig too deeply into it because I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Yep. So, yeah, this is what it would look like.
Just have sort of some candles over here, some pews for prayer, very, very basic type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Someone for like whoever was speaking at the time to stand at, rooms for like one of the brothers or whoever's gonna be staying there to like run I guess their...
This is where they would give the sermons, yeah.
Like,
and then over
here and stuff.
I'm in a spot where I'm just randomly on fire in the air.
Yep, that's why we're not going over there, because I know where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, and then over here...
We don't know why that happens. We don't show that on screen, because the last time I did it, I got to the back end of this building and got caught on fire, and we were like, nope, not doing it. That's a sign.
Yep.
So we're not going to show that on... We'll show it from a distance on camera, but we're not really going to go into detail of it.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like there's fire over there. It's in for some reason.
Possibly.
So over here is the room of Brother Dirk Dangus back when he was, living at the temple. Mm-hmm. It's very simple because he's just a warforged man. He's very minimalist. So there's a mat for him to sit when he doesn't sleep, and a place for him to read his Bible, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And over here, oh god.
Oh, no, I think we're heading to the same spot.
Over here on the right is the sort of the room of Padre Gregorio's. So very, again, simple. He actually has a proper bed because he's a human man. He has back problems. He's got his Bible as well, and this is a fun little touch here because I always thought this would be a cool idea. Just a little place to a little hookah spot.
Mm-hmm.
For us in America, hookah is kind of like it's basically like exotic smoking, and it's kind of like a club thing. But as far as I know, in the Middle East, it's very maybe doing it in a temple is sacrilegious, but it's a made-up religion, so they're cool with it.
Okay. So without going too much further into detail about what this
Whoa. I don't know if you saw that, but on my screen there was a graphical glitch where these pillars right here were just see-through.
I didn't see that.
I could just see right into the world.
It didn't happen on mine. On mine, like you stopped moving. I got out here, and then like you sped walk from like the middle of it all the way out to here.
Oh wow.
We might have a little bit of a connection problem, but it doesn't seem to be too bad.
Uma is Rubber Band Man.
Oh. So this
Oh,
over
you
here,
Rain Man.
this over here is supposed to be a well. I'm not gonna get into the detail of how that made that work. But this was
well.
in game. We came to Mecca to help out the people of the Minoic faith. There was like I forget how you described it, but it was like a dark cloud kind of thing with like entities inside of it that were surrounding it and basically cutting Mecca off from the surrounding worlds. So, like all their supplies and stuff like that were dwindling down or not coming in at all. So we got there, and we essentially were able to fill up a water reservoir so that the people actually had fresh water, which I actually still have 11 of those pellets left.
Nice. Yeah, they were essentially getting silent hilled by a giant shadow ink bubble, and that might have started your whole official collaboration with each other. That was kind of when the party was sort of unified. They were in Draconia and were like, okay, well, this is our problem. We think this is related. Let's start here first because these people are going to die. So yeah, I was pretty proud of you guys for that one.
So after we got that taken care of, we started actually figuring out what was going on, and he likes to give me shit about it, but I was actually paying attention. Tyrion just had nothing to say because storyline, the dude wanted to kill him, wanted to die, and Tyrion was like, okay, do it. But in game, there is a trench that kind of runs. I don't think you ever actually really described how big the trench is, but it's a trench that ran through the city, kind of.
Well, so above game, what it was is that under the city was essentially a catacomb, a secret sort of temple that one of the bad guys had found, and in an unrelated event, may or may not related to something that had happened, a fissure had opened up in the city that led to this catacomb, and so the people who lived there thought, oh shit, it's just a fissure, we don't go down there. But when the party went down, they found this place. And so, yeah, I think the way I described it, was just like this. It was sort of. Oh, go ahead.
These mannequins, or for Minecraft, these are dummies. I forget. Armor stands.
This is Seattle Gamers' favorite room.
Yes, this is Seattle gives me so much shit for this one. But no, so when we found this, these weren't here. This was just a hallway with I think you describe it as like a very golden door.
Yeah. So like, if you're really, I don't know if you guys will ever come back to this place again. Like this temple, this is so old. Like this thing probably goes back to like, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 BC.
Jesus.
Yeah, so this thing is like, it's very ancient. It's old Judaism, and so it has a lot of very old. I know I don't want to get too religious there, but I mean, like, as a faith, it has a lot of old, sort of Middle Eastern tones to it. It has a lot of depictions of angels and things like that on the wall, and they're a combination of like etched into the stone and painted on, I imagine, in just like faded paint. Um, yeah, they uncover places like this even today in like Israel and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely if you're ever interested, look up some of those old ruins. Like it's very fascinating culture. But this is sort of what that's supposed to be depicted. It's an old Hebrew stone mason's temple that has some very peculiar artifacts in it.
So in game, first off, this hole wasn't here in game when we got to it. These are supposed to actually represent like prayer mats or something like that for like praying and stuff like that. And when we did, it opened up this hole that actually led to the staircase that leads down. And I think the way that you had described it to me was the from The Hobbit, the tombs in the mountain.
Yeah.
How they depicted it, where like it was just this broken staircase, and there was like a tomb laid out, kind of going in this spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And then at
but
the
it's
bottom,
just
go for it.
Yeah, and it's just like rows and rows. Like it's basically a crypt, where people have been interred.
Yep. And that all led down to this area here. I think these were all supposed to be themselves caskets, but you can't really depict that too well in Minecraft either. And like the lighting, it's more lit up in here than you described, but this is supposed to be like very low lit and dim lighting.
Did you have used like gray beds instead of red ones?
I think we do now. When we made this, I don't think the gray ones were added to this version. But we could probably swap them out.
Yeah.
We'll do that later. Small details that we can get back to.
Like that?
Yeah. For any of you who know your Gnosticism or whatever, these are the Sarcophagi of the Cleopaths. Some magical artifacts that party didn't really explore too much about, don't really understand fully, so I'm not going to try and divulge it here. But basically, it was what the bad guy was doing to do his stuff. And this is like the first big bad that the team, the new team with Chavez had really encountered. And so his whole goal for this was to basically go through the whole sarcophagus guy, do something with them to his soul, and then proceed to die. That was literally his entire goal. So yeah.
Yeah. So this is where he died. Yeah, I think you described this one as supposed to be like the golden casket, or like the cast of light or something like that. It's supposed to actually have color in it, like light color.
Yes, it's much bigger. Yeah. So yeah, again, in game, like in theory, these other caskets and stuff, these all represent an individual thing and an individual step in this ritual. And so you're supposed to proceed through the different caskets, and then by the end of the ritual, you come to this last casket, and something happens.
Something of which we don't know too well of.
Yeah.
So moving on, back here was his lab.
Yeah, this is sort of his laboratory. This is where you guys discovered his research book, his notes, and also the sort of effigy, the concealing effigy that was basically hiding the main big bad force from you guys. So when you let him do his thing, his last breath was to tell you how to remove the concealing charm. And you did so.
All right, I think that wraps us up for Mecca, because we're not going to do that other area.
Yeah, no, cool place. Not going to do it.
Yep, we have been given too many signs not to do it, so we're not going to. For in game, these armor stand is supposed to represent the entity creature things that we had fought in. You said they were like a wireframe kind of creature.
Yeah, so they are shadow monsters that look like they're made out of like an inky black chicken frame. Chicken wire frame. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense visually, but that's the best way I could describe it. They look very veiny and very ghost / monstrous.
Okay. All right.
Also, they have big vicious claws because apparently when I want to make something scary, I give it big vicious claws. I don't know if that has the same effect to you guys that it does to me, apparently.
Alright, so the area we're not going to do, that's the Kaaba? Is that right?
We're just going to sail right by it and not going to talk about it.
Yep. Anyone that wants to, you can look it up. Alright, so Tyrion's village, which I'm actually very happy with how this turns out. I think I want to come back through here and throw in vegetation, or more vegetation.
Yeah.
Give it a little more height and varying colors. So starting off, actually I'm going to start off over here with what used to be his village. So here on the backside behind the dragon for Luke and Geared is the remnants of Tyrion, my character, his birth village that got ransacked by Grey Orcs. He was
Going all the way into Origins.
Huh?
Going all the way into Origins.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah. I think I'm the only one that's got like that far back in Origins built out in this right now. Ransacked by orcs, Grey Orcs. The skeleton heads are supposed to represent the dead bodies of my village. These are all these wood and stones are supposed to represent different little like houses and shops, for lack of a better depiction. And then so the actual village is a village of Goliath, who took Tyrion in and raised him. So we got like the main hall, which is where everyone comes to meet up, party, have like village discussions, things along that nature. We have the chief and his wife's hut.
Kitty.
Oh yeah, so the cat here was in game was actually supposed to represent Fuzz, and the armor stand back here is supposed to represent Dave, because there was a whole scene with them. We won't get too far into that one. And then I got my different villagers' homes and places of work. Our main export for this village is like not necessarily like iron, but like what iron they can get, farmland, so like sheep, so wool, chickens, things of that nature. We have a archery and fighting area. We have Tyrion's home, his house itself, which is a tent. I do have a representation of Ballista in here with his mat that he sleeps on, and then Tyrion's bed, his weaponry around. We have our blacksmith down here built into the hill, which is a fun little caveat for all this, which I might need to open up that to give it some actual height. We've got the farmers back here, the actual farm creatures, little houses for like horses. I think we got chickens back here, I believe. Yep, sheep and cows. actual farm land, so like potatoes, carrots, wheat. At least for Minecraft, there are other things that they grow, but that's kind of what it is. We've got more houses. We've got Tyrion's adoptive family, their house. His adopted mom, Vanya, and then his brother and sister, Kark and Liv, who are currently part of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And then back here behind it, we have a battleground. So
Yes.
in his background, one of the reasons why he actually left to go become an adventurer was that his village got attacked by a white wormling, I think.
A white dragon wormling, sort of in between an adult and a wormling.
Yeah. It had attacked us. We came together as a full village and slaughtered it. So there is the skeleton of a dragon that goes from the head where the head where Geared is at, all the way down to the back end of the tail, which is actually a fair distance away. So I mean, these things are kind of big. So that's fitting. And then if we actually follow the paths further back, we've got, I'm not going to go over that because that's just a funny little thing. We have here in the back, so in not mythology,
history.
Thank you. In the history of Vikings, and not just in Vikings, but in several things actually, they have different names for them, but Vikings call them seers. They are the
dudes who see.
They're like the bridge between our plane and other planes of existence.
Yeah. So other cultures might know this as like an old oracle or a wise woman / wise man.
Yeah.
Hermit, something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Sage, even.
Yep. And we try to keep it as, you can't do a whole lot with lighting out here because this is all natural light, and it can't really make it any dimmer than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Seer's little house, and he's got his own little like garden back here. Just as I was moving out to the little garden, just Steve Rules just slowly comes into view. Mike, if you're watching this, or if you're gonna watch this, good on you. I think he just built this at random at one point, and it's been like a point of reference for at least Luke whenever he's flying around. Just, you find this, you know you're close.
Oh yeah, we have another project that we've been referring to, Kattegat, that's a much larger project than some of these. Yeah. And it's every time I have to find my way home to the Theseus from Kattegat, I end up hitting Steve's sign. And if I don't hit Steve's sign, I am very thoroughly lost, and I don't feel comfortable again until I hit Steve's sign. Mm-hmm. So his intended rebellion has actually saved my life several times.
That's hilarious. Okay, so we have a decision to do right now. So we can either keep going on with the story and go to the cave, of which we do not speak, or we can go to Kattegat and do the cave after.
Let's hit the cave. Let's maybe take a look at Pennington, okay. And then we can circle around to Kattegat from there.
Okay.
Since we're still in the neighborhood, that's kind of where the story took us.
Yeah. So the cave should be like right over here, if things will load in for me.
I'm working on it, sorry. It's partially tied to me and my Xbox, so I apologize for any loading issues.
Over here.
Here we go.
Too far, Geared.
So where is I always forget where the front is. I know it's close.
What's with the lava pillar?
It was our
Is,
it was our way of,
it is the lava pillar. You're
yeah,
right.
It was our way of designating on where we were building it, because we could see the lava pillar before we were able to see the cave entrance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so and we're actually getting fairly close to when we started actually streaming this.
Yeah, I believe so. This is some of our earliest stuff.
Yeah, so like once we got to the end of this cave is when we actually started streaming.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this right here, you want the great DM who actually knows the story. You want to explain this?
Yeah. We're not. Are we showcasing Draconia? The portal of Draconia?
We can. You want to do that first?
Maybe. Yeah, let's start there. Actually, let's come
Okay.
back to this because that's close by, right?
Yeah, this other side of the hill. So there's not a whole lot to it, but it's at least here.
Yes. So in our world, the North Pole has, and probably other places, has a secret portal to the hidden nation of Draconia, a secret plane of existence that hides an entire country of dragons. Not wild dragons like you see here in the material plane, but dragons of all different metals and crystals and colors and things, all living and working more or less together, as much as a dragon do.
Mm-hmm.
And so the nation of Draconia is not anything like D&D lore. In my universe, how D&D understands dragons only applies to the dragons in the material plane, because they're like wild dragons. They haven't been to the homeland in years. The dragons who live in Draconia are very civilized and very upright folks. And how you get into the portal is you sail to the North Pole. You gain permission from the serpent Jormungandr, the world serpent. You ask him for permission into this cave from this that's just kind of this gaping maw sticking out of a rock that extends from the bottom of the ocean. So it's literally like just open ocean, and then there's this pillar of rock, and then there's a hole in it that you can sail into. And Jormungandr decides whether or not you're a friend of the nation of Draconia and lets you in. And in here is the ancient stone platform to the nation. So this would be where you would dock. It's literally like this ancient stone dock that the Tremakta that the Theseus kind of pulled up here in. And over here would be another big bronze door, like an ancient door that kind of has some draconic incantations and leads to a whole another plane of existence.
Yay! And yeah, I said earlier on that's gonna be one of those things that we can't really showcase on this, because that's gonna be a whole map all on its own.
Maybe we do that in the end.
Yeah.
Sorry, you got a dragon there.
Yeah, I mean we can.
Yeah.
It's that's more spacious and easier to level out than it would be for the overworld or the Nether.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But on their way back from Draconia, the party was asked for assistance by one of Theo's. So Theo, your shaman guide, he had another shaman friend named Stormfroke, and Stormfroke asked you guys for help dealing with evil, and your party decided to instead go save Mecca, which was reasonable because both seemed to have a time limit. So Stormfroke, the Bullywog shaman, the frogman, basically came to investigate this evil on his own, and it became too much for him to deal with. And so he kind of created a kamikaze lightning attack in front of this cave. And when the party first came here, all they found was his storm crystal staff buried into the ground with a sort of beef jerky storm frog hand attached to it, still clutching the staff.
Which, luckily, we took and brought back with us.
Yeah.
I say
Beef,
luckily, I don't know what happened yet.
Wait, you took the beef jerky with you?
Yes, and it was tasty.
It's basically just a mummified frog hand.
Mm-hmm.
Which in history, is actually a thing that happens. Not in in actual history. Eating the remains of a dead one or someone of ancient culture, or not ancient culture, but someone of higher descent, basically. So pharaohs and stuff like that, or anyone with higher authority. In history were known to be mummified, basically turned into beef jerky, in layman's terms, turned into beef jerky and then eaten. It wasn't until pharaohs and stuff like that were preserved in tombs where they stopped doing that as a rite of passage kind of thing. I think some cultures actually still do it, but not to the extent of full on cannibalism, but on the extent of
just the mummifying and embalming.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll return in a second.
How dare you?
Yep, go for it.
Alright, well then, leading on to the cave.
Yeah, another cave.
Yes, the cave.
So this cave is another cave with stories that the party didn't fully uncover. So, do you remember what you fought here in the first part of the cave?
It was a bear, but the way you described it, the bear was almost like two bears merged, slammed together to form one.
It was basically a Frankenbear.
Yeah. We fought it, and I think afterwards, I think Fuzz was the only one that could see it, was able to see the spirit of the bear, that's in its own way saying thank you.
Above game, you were also intended to maybe see that. That was an opportunity for you to receive a bear totem, but that didn't end up playing through. I had you roll for that, I think, several times.
Yeah, I don't think I passed any of them, or at least not enough to get it. But it was sitting on top of a gold hoard, which is what this room down here is.
An evil gold hoard. Do you remember what was cool about this? Yeah, it's not cool.
I think in game we all came to the unanimous decision not to take it because there could be a curse or something along those lines that are bestowed upon it. Out of game, I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and leave it there.
There was that trail of blood that we were following that led down the cave. Cause when we got into here, it wasn't lit up at all. We were only seeing the shapes and shades of gray because of night vision. It wasn't until someone put down a torch that we actually saw the blood, I think, leading from the ladder down here around the pile down into the cave.
That is correct.
Yep. And after, oh god, I forgot how long you said we were walking. It was a good half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
We came to this door, which inside of it led to, god, how it's an infirmary, but it's like a mad scientist infirmary.
Yeah, so I can explain this to you now since you've came to that part of the story. This was Priscilla's workshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is where she did what she did.
Lovely.
Yeah. So that's why there's all these benches and magical accoutrement and stuff like that, and I think I even offhandedly described as there's some sewing materials around here.
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, this is where her and her supposed husband made monsters.
Which we still need to find the husband. But in here we fought a few of the gnolls, and one, it was like a bird thing that she had sewn together that we fought as well. This is also
There's another one of those.
Huh?
Another one of those illithid eagles.
Yeah, well, I think you described this one as being smaller, so I could fit the room. Because the ones that we fought outside were like the big ones. This is also the room where turmoil between Tyrion and Fuzz started to happen.
Yeah. But you guys have since crushed that beef. You guys are friends.
Yeah.
Also, there's some crates over here. These are where the crates started.
Yeah, I don't think we really looked too much into the crates. Although I'm not even sure. Tyrion wouldn't be too sure on how many of the crates are even left after. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So then, leading through the door, which I'm actually kind of glad on how these turned out. Those being turned
these
into
are amazing.
Those being turned into the handles was actually kind of a cool feature that Minecraft let us do.
Yeah, no, I love it. This is an amazing double door design.
So there was a room over there.
Well, yeah, there was a room. There was a house over here.
Yeah.
With a little chimney and a table and everything.
Yeah, and then a dinosaur happened, and yeah.
Yeah, go back and watch that episode if you want to understand that wackiness.
Yeah. It's full left field. I think surprised like all of us except for I think Mike was the only one that wasn't surprised about it, or wasn't as surprised about it. Oh god, they got it. It got out of.
Yep. And they always do. It happens, I think, like every update.
Okay, I'll figure something else out.
It's all good.
Oh, so this is the in the story we got through this door and we came across this room. Inside the room we saw that dragon that Tyrion's village had slain went missing. And
yes, it had.
Yes, and we got here and we found the bottom half of it, and Stormfrog, I would imagine she was probably just finishing up the touches of sewing them together.
Yep. So we had the leathery bottom skin of Stormfrog and his legs being grafted onto this sort of dragon tail, and I don't think I even gave him feet. I think it's just the tail and like the haunches.
I think so. I don't think you gave him his lower half like at all. I don't think Stormfrog even really had his lower half. At least not much of it.
Oh yeah, no, his legs are gone. Like he was thoroughly sewn to this thing.
Yeah.
So this thing is very skeletal, but basically, yeah, we took some skeleton off the dragon. We mounted Stormfrog to it, and then we used a bunch of animal leather and magic to stretch over this skeleton and kind of put him together.
That was an interesting encounter, because underneath it, if I can go down, in like the mine area that we built out and just blew up and built out, there was more of those zombie gnoll things that decided to come out and start making their way up the stairs and were fighting us while we were trying to figure out what to do with Stormfrog.
And there's all kinds.
Go for it.
There's all kinds of other stuff that was going on in here. The party wanted the hell out of this cave after this fight, so you didn't explore too much.
Yeah.
But just for my own vindication here, the caves and whatever the fuck patch had just come out when we built this cave, and when I mined out this space with TNT, this was the first little amethyst geode that I ever found. So this is actually canonical. This is in here.
Mm-hmm. I think we even expanded it out so it actually fit better into this cave. So I think originally it was only like this center part here, probably around about where I'm standing. Brought out to actually meet the rest of the cavern or the cave.
Yeah, because this cavern down here, it was dark, so like no one saw anything. But like this cannon is this cave is full of all kinds of crystals and other things that might become relevant again in the upcoming sessions. So stay tuned.
Which also reminds me that at some point I want to take one of these pillars out because Ballista destroyed it. So there should be like a gap like right here, I think.
Yeah. He totally took that out. Oh, I can't believe I fell through that. That was perfect.
Oh.
Yeah.
So in game there was a building here. You go inside and it was like I think like a small storage room kind of thing. So there were crates.
It was a house.
It wasn't actually okay. So it was a house. There were crates all over the place. There is still like a bed, like the bedroom area is still down here.
Yeah, in game this like would be like bowed in and stuff like that. Like this would look awful.
Which we can still do. We can bow it out if we need to.
We'll figure it out if we want.
Yeah.
And then Fuzz summoned his third vassal, the angelic T-Rex, Celestius Rex, the archangel of dinosaurs, carnivorous dinosaurs.
Yeah, which with its size blew out this whole backside out into the mountain range.
Fuzz told him to get us out of the cave, and he got us out of the cave in the most direct fashion. So this whole house was hidden into this hillside here, if you want to come out, and was very discreetly hidden a la Hobbit Hill, you know? And like in game, well, story is that these crates were going to be loaded up with supposedly monsters, and were being picked up by the Fedorks and Kenkus Corporation, the trade company rather, and we're going to be shipped off somewhere. Homeboy drove a T-Rex through the wall, decided to ditch that fight, came back to finish that fight.
Well, no, so he got out. Fuzz and Mac left. Tyrion stayed there to fend off and to kind of stop things from getting out. While above game, our players decided to go swap out their characters and come out with reinforcements. So they left, brought back a Silica and Dirk, and then we finished off the fight and subdued Stormfolk, got him out of there. After all said and done, we left. Tyrion and Theo came back. And oh no, that was the time that we got Stormfolk out. The second time, second time Tyrion came back is when we got Stormfolk out. First time was us just getting it, GTFOing. We came back. Tyrion and the Fedorks had their whole show me where your manager is at situation with the crates, while everyone else was trying to take care of Stormfolk and Fuzz. That was an interesting one. I think even my roles were like, no, my manager's down there. You want to help me find my manager? They're down there. Check the pile of rubble. The crates are down there.
Yep. That was a fun interaction. Yeah, I love getting to bring the Fedorks in.
That was fun.
I live for it.
Oh, he's back.
I'm back for 10 minutes.
Yay.
Something in the oven.
We just got done describing the inside of this cavern.
Yeah, I had the your stream up on my phone.
Ah, okay.
I caught 10% of what you said.
Fair. Alright, so from there, Kattegat? Or do we want to do Peddington?
Pennington Island.
Okay. So Peddington, we still need to come back to. We don't... The map that I was given has changed up, so I'm going to need to rethink some of the planning.
That's over here, right?
Go to the Theseus and then keep going.
Yeah. It's basically at spawn.
More or less. It's like spawn just... Yeah. So originally the idea for these pillars out of here was we were going to clear that out and turn that into Peddington. And then basically decide, screw that, we're just going to find a flat ground, start building out, and then we'll flatten out and terrain upwards from where we need it to be. So this is the begin. This is like the harbor area of Peddington Island, and this is all we've really got for it. Again, the map that I was given has changed, so I need to go back and change things up.
Fair enough.
Yep.
But I would like to point out that this is a very eerily accurate 3D rendering of a two-dimensional icon. Like, it, I can't express this to you guys. If you go back onto the YouTube archive, you will see this map of Peddington Island up on, I think, the first couple of episodes. That's our backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
This courtyard looks exactly like that image. It is scary. This is one of it is one of Chavez's best magic tricks, in my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, I know you put a lot of love into a lot of this stuff. This one freaked me the hell out when I first saw it. I was like, how did you make that?
There's
a random tree on fire.
Yeah,
so,
that area, don't worry about that.
Yeah, so so originally we were clearing it all out by just burning the trees down, so Luke turned the fire spread on, and then we burnt a lot of it down, and then he turned it back on before all of them finished burning. So there's probably like 2 or 3 trees that have got flames here that just aren't gonna spread because he turned it off.
Yeah. Also, I think Mike came to help us at one point and tried to clear out part of his island, and didn't realize that fire spread was turned off, and he's like, oh, well, there goes that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing fireworks don't catch things on fire.
Yeah.
Well, again, fire spread is off, so I don't know.
No, fireworks don't catch things on fire.
Do they not? That's good.
No.
That's a good mechanic. It teaches children that fireworks are totally safe.
Mm.
It takes forever to even make fireworks, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
The fireworks I'm currently shooting off, I actually had to make.
Oh. Weird.
Well, they only put duration 1 fireworks.
Yeah.
In the thing. So I made duration 3 with 5 different colors. Where'd you guys go?
I'm right above you.
Ow.
I'm going to 600 negative 770.
Oh, to Kattegat now?
Yeah.
Alright.
Is that? Oh, that's where we're going, right?
Yes. Gear, do you know where you're going?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe I know where I'm going.
Keep doing
600 negative 770. So.
You know what's sad is that in this version, the elytra are actually, well, not just this version, but like the fireworks and elytra are actually faster than your movement speed is when you're in creative mode.
Yeah, but the problem is that the elytra got nerfed in this version.
Yeah.
Somehow. I don't know I don't know how to describe it exactly. I just remember that they changed how they work, and it's actually horrible on the Xbox.
Mm.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm just getting.
And I am also going to. I'm still here, but I'm going to step away from my controller so I can get some food going myself.
Okay. Well, I will describe Kattegat for as best I can. All right, so this area is Kattegat. It is actually a place in Finland.
Not historically accurate. Don't harp on me for
sorry.
that.
So yes, so it's not a historically accurate place, but it's in universe. It's in Finland. It's at the bottom of the mountain range for Tyrion's village, because Tyrion's village is at the top of the mountain range, or like top to middle. So this is the base of it. This is where the Jarl lives. And for people who, God, that was random. Okay. So for people who look into mythology, or not mythology, but history, for like Norsemen and Vikings, stuff like that, the Jarl is almost like the ruler of the area. So like if you want to go do something like big, you ask permission from the Jarl. If you want to go sailing and you need a crew, you ask the Jarl for either a ship or crewmates. You pay tribute to your Jarl. He rules the land, basically.
Yeah. In English, the translation is Earl. So yeah, he's like a count or something like that. He is a noble of some demeanor, who either inherited or conquered his land, and yeah, you go to him for everything. He's like a governor.
Yep.
And there are apparently Pokemon centers in them.
It's not a Poke Center, damn it.
And so this is what we have for the Jarl's home. So the bottom part of this is where it's the same thing for Tyrion's village, where there's gonna be like a grand hall where like parties are thrown, all like the meetings are gonna be held. If there are newcomers, this is where they're gonna stop in to actually meet like the ruler. If you need any like city council or anything like that, this is where this would all happen. And in it is where he lives, like his bedroom and stuff like that. He's got his own, not necessarily like servants, but like the people who actually like work in this building. This is like the kitchen, like a second floor is where they live, or where like anyone that needs to and get permission, this is where like they'd stay the night, or do any other trade business that needs to be a little more secretive, stuff like that. And so all around here are gonna be, the ground itself is all kind of like meshed together, because back then they didn't have like the stonework that we have now for like concrete grounds or anything like that. So it's all hay on top of, God damn it.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
It's gonna be like hay on top of like condensed mud with like rock and pebbles thrown here and there, and this is kind of where they all had like stomped down the ground with like parties. There's a giant fire pit kind of thing in the center where they'd cook, or not necessarily cook small meals, but like big game would be cooked across here. At the head of it would always be like the Jarl and either his wife or like the second in command or something like that. Depends on how you look at the history. Sometimes the Jarl's wife was second in command. Sometimes the Jarl didn't have a wife or anything like that, so that's where they'd be.
Well, it's always nice to have a powerful woman to help run your nation.
It is.
Otherwise, she's just a pretty face, right?
Yeah. So that's his house. It is also where, in the back of it, in the room, in the universe, in the story, the Jarl that Tyrion knows was killed. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to look at my notes if we ever found out who killed him. I think that's actually what we're trying to figure out now. And his brother has come back to claim the right of Jarl. Is that right?
No, it's not
No?
his brother.
Oh, it's
It
not.
is it is one of the sons of Ragnar. It is Bjorn Ironsides.
Oh, okay.
So above game, well, actually in game and above game. So the High King of Kattegat, the High King of all of the Norsemen, at one point was a man named Ragnar Lothbrok, and he wielded a real historical icon called the the Sword of Kings, which was a not magical sword, but a golden sword that was basically like your signet to rule. And so, if you had won the Sword of Kings in fair combat, you got to be king of the Vikings. So the problem is that Ragnar died in England. He didn't die in Viking country. He died elsewhere, and so he had the Sword of Kings with him when he died. And so there was a huge dispute because, you know, he had a bunch of sons, and Bjorn was his oldest living son, so he was kind of seen as the rightful ruler. But then there was a bunch of other sons of Ragnar who were more aggressive and, you know, were more interested in the politics, and they're like, nah, I think I'll be king. So Bjorn's the one who actually found the sword.
Scared these rockets fly so slowly.
Yeah. They also don't go that far.
Yeah.
Unless you upgrade them.
And so before he left, and so before he came back, your kind of Kattegat here was just like a little county, like it was just a major city. Now that he's back, this is where his family used to live, and that's like, you know, the old capital of that kingdom. So he presumably that's what he's doing again. He's bringing that back.
We'll have to figure out how that really plays out, because we're finally getting to that point where what we're showcasing is catching up to the story. So there are things that only Luke's gonna know.
Yeah. I'm trying to give you the clip notes here.
Yeah. But so this is what we got for Kattegat. This is still a work in progress. This is a bigger build than what we've done so far. I think other than the Chiraxi, I think this is our next biggest build. At least as far as what we've started. Paddington is definitely gonna actually push the limits of what we built out so far.
Push it to the limit.
But I also need to come back to Kattegat, because there are details in here that we need to put in just for not. It doesn't even have to be for like story play. It's more for aesthetics.
Yeah, because I definitely would like to come back through and like make it seem like a more populated place. This is definitely like one of those places where like there could be thousands of people here. Well, no, there are definitely thousands of people here. Like maybe pushing into like 1 million or so. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that numbers like that for population.
Well, especially with the way that, for one, again, I'm gonna keep on saying it with Minecraft. These buildings that we currently have, the base for all the framework there's only a 2x2 square between any one of these pillars. So I mean, you could probably fit like 10 people in between them, but in Minecraft you can only fit like 2. Yeah. So I mean, these buildings do hold more than what they can show. But with Kattegat, we do also have. Sorry, just trying to get back to the actual showcase and not just trying to figure out next build plan. So Kattegat's got the Jarl's house. This building.
The meat hall, yeah.
Yes. We've got a like a blacksmithy kind of shoppy area kind of thing over here. Not far out in front of it. In game, Tyrion and Silica really mess with one dude's head. That was really fun. Silica, sorry. I think Priscilla came to the thought that the dude was ripping him off for a sword.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I had to drink some tea. So, Silica and Tyrion decided Tyrion's gonna go in, start talking to this dude. I had him like sharpen one of my axes, and so Silica has this.
Did you have to ask him a question?
Get out of here. Silica has a. Is it telekinesis or telekinetic? He can talk to us in our heads, basically. It's like it's our version of a walkie-talkie, or that's how we've been using it.
He's telepathic, yes.
Telepathic, thank you. So in here, Tyrion was talking to the dude, and then Silica got into his head and basically became a blaring alarm in the guy's head. And as the conversation was going on, he was just getting louder and louder and louder to the point where Tyrion picked up on what was going on and just stopped talking, but still moved his mouth like he was talking. And the dude was shouting almost at the top of his lungs, like, "What did you say? Can you repeat that?" And we were totally just mind fucking this dude. Yeah, and Tyrion saw that, was like, I'm done. And quickly drove the dude insane with the sound in his head. It was fun.
Yeah, this guy definitely made his way down to a temple that night.
Yeah. Speaking of temples, there are two of them here. There's one. They're not in front of the gates. They're actually on the opposite corner of either of the gates. And they both have statues. I believe one of them is supposed to be. So we got Odin, I think. Oh crap! Odin's wife.
Is that Freya? I can never keep them straight. Yeah.
I think Freya, and then I think it was supposed to be I think Thor was supposed to be one of them, because I think this one back here is supposed to be depicted of Thor.
Was it Thor, or was it Balder? I can't remember.
Oh, it might be Balder.
Yeah.
Balder sounds.
Because Thor.
Huh?
Sorry.
No,
Thor is the craft god, so
okay.
Yeah, I think he's at the other temple.
Okay, yeah, so Balder sounds better. So then over here on the
He's the favorite.
Over on the other one, oh, this one doesn't actually have a statue. This one, oh right, we've got armor stands, because this one was supposed to be more book related and not so much worship related.
Yep. So the collective temple of the or rather the temple of the collective craft gods is an international interpantheon temple. It's basically, if you worship one of the crafting gods, it is a sort of safe haven for you, even if you're not from that place. So like worshippers of Hephaestus would be welcome there. I think the one for Celtic mythology would be Dagda. I think he's the craft god there. Yeah, very. I think Athena is a. Well, no, excuse me. It's just Hephaestus. I already said that. But yeah, basically, it's a place of collective smithing knowledge and stuff like that. Dwarves use this system to kind of trade information across countries and stuff like that. You know, new techniques kind of circulate around.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of trading systems, in this, we actually have built out a FedEx and Kenko's building, or tent,
Yep.
or I forget. I think we just
No,
call
it's
it.
a building.
Okay, so it is a building. So when you go inside, you've got two entrances. One is to the right, one is to the left. One is actually the orcs who do the who fly these massive bat-like creatures, and travel across the plains that way. I don't remember what that book is for.
Pick it up.
Showcasing something. I will when we're not on camera. So in here was supposed to be like the pen for the bats. They like hang upside down and all that. This is supposed to be darker than it is, but Minecraft needs to stop creature spawning, so I had to light it up. And then the other room over here is ran by the Kenkus, more or less by the Kenkus, but this is like their like general store of like trade goods and stuff. I think is how what we came to the conclusion of. We didn't really spend a whole lot of time here. I think we spent more time over with like the blacksmiths, but this is always here for us to do stuff with.
Yeah, you guys basically had some evidence from Fedorix and Kenkus that related to the crates, and you brought it back here as part of the investigation.
Right. Yeah. So the idea behind this one was they're orcs. There's always gonna be red canvas and some sort of bone holding this building together, which is what this is supposed to depict.
You got your chains. You can never have too many spikes. You know, if it's not staying, put more nails in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be right orky, you know. It's got to stand the test of time. And crumpet.
Crumpet. Yes. So moving on. So on each end by the main gates, and we'll talk about the whole in a second, there are actual like vendors and like trading tables and stuff like that. Actually, let's go to the other one because the other one is closer to the dock. So this is like these would be where all the farmers or like all the hunters would come in to trade and sell off their goods, stuff like that. Get resupplied stuff, hired on more hands, you know, things along that nature. Which with the hired hands brings us to the docks, which I'm actually glad with the way that this building turned out. That was kind of an interesting one. Our ship, the Theseus, we don't move it on Minecraft, but canonically that ship that's over there in the far distance is supposed to be docked. I think on this far end here. Because if I remember, I think we got like the dwarven ships over in these other spots here.
I actually had that flipped in my mind, but maybe
Okay.
I just didn't explain it in my
Okay.
But
Is this where they build the ships and roll it out into the ocean?
Yes.
I'm actually pretty happy with the detail in here too. Go ahead, Javi.
So Geared, if you actually go inside, you'll actually see a ship being held up that they're building out.
That's more like a boat, not a ship.
Well,
It hit.
Geared, that plane ticket's looking really nice right about now. So this is supposed to be the railing for it to slide out on. All like the tools and the crafting stations that would be inside of one of them. A ship or a boat, where'd you go? Being worked on. Outside across from it would be the room where like anyone that comes into the port that needs just a place to stay before heading out on their next venture would stay. Someone who doesn't really have like a place to call home here. You got your warehouses.
A boarding house.
Yes. You got your warehouses for supplies.
But they're only warehouses when it's a full moon. Otherwise, they're people.
+2 because I made that joke before.
I'm gonna go over here now.
You know what's funny? Is I can follow you because I know where you're at all times.
All right, moving on. So currently in the story, we have. I don't know how to describe it other than we split the party. Or
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
we split the party and the crew. So, Tyrion, Silica, Dirk, Kark, Liv, Salim, Balasar,
Well,
and Glil have taken the Chmoktabula off of the Ship of Theseus, and are traveling into the Underdark, which is where this cave system starts up.
where you've been for days.
Yes. I think at this point, like 2 weeks, because I think just getting to this this village, I think you said took us like 9 to 10 days. Which,
Yeah.
Oh right, that setting doesn't work on this anymore. Which you've expanded a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I didn't get this finished up, but I wanted it to look a little more tiered. So, you know, I've marked out more hovels. I've kind of carved it out a little bit more. But yeah, this is kind of, you know, I know it looks kind of like a mishmash of stuff, but this is the Underdark city of Svartalheim, the home of goblinoids and deep gnomes, and I think you guys saw a couple halflings.
I think we have an Underdark one with us. Oh no, we have a deep gnome with us. Never mind.
Yes, that is correct.
And at some point, Luke, me and you need to talk about how I need to actually write Svartalheim, because I have it written out on how it's spelled. I need to do the whole like how it's pronounced thing later.
Uh-huh.
'Cause I don't think I'm ever gonna remember how to properly pronounce it. Do you want to give him a quick description, or quick description of what this is supposed to be? Or more of a description, I guess.
Yeah. So the way, if you want to think about like kind of in terms of aesthetics, so I kind of imagine this as sort of a this is where the cave sort of opens a little more naturally. It's a big old air pocket. So the way I kind of imagined it is like it's basically like a sort of V-shaped canyon. So a little more kind of on the left side is kind of how we're looking, with like these kind of stone steps, these sort of cake tiers that lead kind of up and up until we get to the wall and the ceiling and stuff like that. You guys have like 120 feet of dark vision, and like I think I said from the floor, like you guys could not see the ceiling, so it's like it's that big down here.
Yeah, I think the way you describe it is like if Tyrion looked up, because I think I've got the furthest, like you can see my distance, but then it all becomes darker and darker with depth.
Yeah.
Up above.
And so like it's a really massive cave. Like things could be hiding up there and you just wouldn't know.
Yeah. This is also the cave where Tyrion almost slaughtered a goblin. Which we will get to that in game because there's something behind it.
Yep. But yeah, sort of the way this kind of works. And again, like I've just been kind of carving up into the mountain, and then everywhere I thought looked like a good sort of, you know, kind of Jim Henson-esque sort of, yeah. So I made platforms where there are like platforms that look like natural walkways, and I sort of marked out hobbit holes, sort of going for like, you know, maybe like a Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock, or like a, if you guys know, the Plague Canyon, whatever the place is called in Demon Souls. So kind of somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay. At some point, we come together and work on this more. Try and get this a little more fleshed out.
Yeah, for sure. And well, we had the two-dimensional map of the Basilisk Maze as well, so we can totally make that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling if I just put that in front of you and just say go nuts, you would make it pretty quickly.
Just give me a line of TNT.
Yeah.
What kind of nuts?
The ones that I'm going to drag across your face.
Wow. On stream, Chavez.
I'm going over here. I'm gonna hide.
Get back here. Alright,
Oh, I'm hidden. You can't find me. Said you can't find me.
But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. I think those are kind of our projects. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any other questions? Anything?
Gear, did you have any questions that we might not have gone over?
Not that I can.
How are you? How are you guys doing, chat? Did you want to ask anything about us? That would be your time. I guess we can make our way back to the booth.
For the two people that are in chat, and one of them is me, and I think the other one's Geared. I think we got everything.
Oh. Okay.
Wolf is correct. Zed was here earlier, and Zenith went to bed. So.
Zed might actually be on his way home because they were out camping this weekend.
No, he's streaming something.
Oh, okay. So
Well, he's streaming something on.
Discord.
Discord. I can't tell what it is though.
Okay. Oh, here, let me actually go out to Steve Rules really quick, because I don't think I didn't show that one too well. There he is. Load!
Steve Rules.
Load, damn you, load! There we go.
By the power of Ra.
Oh, I took the flames out. Oh,
What?
okay, he replaced it. Okay. So originally, I want to say this is, oh crap, what the hell is this one? No. Quartz. Originally the quartz was netherite, and he lit it on fire. But this actually turned out really cool. I like the way that he used the metal for the strings of a guitar.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
looks pretty
Mars.
legit.
Yeah. And with it being so big, I'm actually surprised that like you could get a good distance away as long as it's rendered in and still be able to make out Steve Rules. Like
Luke, I got some signal flares. I got some signal flares for you.
So right about here, so like right behind the Sears house is where Steve Rules actually comes into view. So it's a good distance. All right, well,
It's a good thing the seer is blind.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm gonna say this on stream, so people actually know that it's a thing. So I want to build out Obsidius's chamber.
Ooh. Okay. Well, that's definitely something we'll have to do in the end.
Yeah.
Just go up really high and then put it in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do that.
We're gonna need to find the end portal, but yeah.
You guys know what we're doing after this.
Yeah, eating lunch.
Yep. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm doing.
All right.
Did
well,
that ricochet off a tree?
It might have. Alright, well, me and Gear are back at the booth.
I will say too, I think just messing around above Chavez's village, like just flying around over there, is the only time in Minecraft I've ever witnessed a phoenix. Like, it just showed up one day, and then it's just as quickly as it was there, it was gone. And that's the only time in Minecraft I've seen it.
Is a phoenix actually a thing in Minecraft?
Is it not? I thought someone said it was. I swear I saw one.
Are you sure it wasn't a parrot on fire?
Might have been a parrot on fire.
Could have been. I mean, there are a few things on fire over there, so I mean, who knows?
They're just gaslighting me. The phoenix has always been a thing in Minecraft.
I mean, I have no... Dude, we've been playing Minecraft for how many years? You brought it up once, and I don't know if any of us actually looked into it. So, like, I honestly don't know if it is or not. It could be one of those things where it's, like, 1 in, like, a million chance or something. I honestly have no idea. Chat, get on it. Give me a heads up if it's actually a thing. I'm also talking to you on YouTube, because this will be going there shortly. Alright, well, was there nothing else you guys wanted to go over?
Nope. No, I'm good.
Alright. So I think that should cover up everything that we want to show, at least now. I know one spot that hasn't even been brought up in game, so we won't go there. Yeah, so I think that's it. Alright, chat.
Did you like the fireworks display?
Alright, everyone on Twitch, thank you for joining us tonight. And yeah, word out to anyone who is having a hard time displaying a D&D map, or even a map in general that use the squares system like a tabletop game. Look into Minecraft, because this has helped out quite a bit, at least visually. And with a square being an actual square, you can set up a small little map and have this still be a 5-foot square for D&D. So any combat like this right here could be 15 feet worth of movement. So definitely look into it. Definitely give it a shot. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it's something that you like, if it's something that you think could work, by all means. Representation, theater of the mind, however you want to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I will say that that's definitely like the way to do it. Like, there's something about trying to make Minecraft work, trying to make all this work in Minecraft, that puts you right back into a kid again, playing, pretend, saying, this Lego that I'm putting on my little guy's hand, this is a gun. Mm-hmm. Even though it looks nothing like a gun. And I think that way of thinking, that whole type of, that way of trying to theater the mind things, really trying to put yourself in there with your imagination, is exactly the kind of attitude you need in D&D. Mm-hmm. I think that's the exact sort of thing that gets those creative juices flowing, and you says, you know what, I can step away from trying to make this a serious, legitimate looking gun, and I can just say this Lego is a cool thing.
Yeah.
But that's my spiel.
Well, and everyone's also, I'm pretty sure that almost everyone, when they were a child, if you pick up a stick and it looks like a gun, that's your gun. But it's still a stick.
Yeah, for sure.
It is the imagination. Yeah, I mean, we're not, for what we do, we're not big time streamers, we're not big time D&D players, we're not I don't mean to call them out. None of us here are Matt Mercer. None of us here are One Shot Quester. We're not Unexpectables. We're not any of those people. They all have their own unique way of displaying things, of describing how things are. So find what works for you. in this case, Minecraft has helped out quite a bit for working for us.
You know, as the DM of one of these streams, you know, if you are watching our stuff and you say that's dumb, I'm gonna do that better. For me, that's a victory. My job has been accomplished because you're now gonna go play D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell them that, then they'll know.
I could be like, well, no, I'm not gonna do it.
Defiant to the end.
Yep.
Well, so with all that being said, that's going to end our stream for tonight. Thank you everyone who watched this and joined us. If you missed this at all in live or in the VODs, this will be up on YouTube. Check it out if you want. Yeah, this has been a
night off from D&D.
Yeah, this has been our night off from D&D, and this has been a map, 3 years in the making, something like that, at least, maybe at this point.
Much like Minecraft, it's one big map made of several tiny maps.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, so with all that, thank you everyone, and have a good night. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Celebration fireworks. Or bye-bye fireworks.